Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to JBDC's Virtual Biz Zone. My name is Dania Bennett, your host for this session, and we're very happy to have you here with us today. We are in for some very exciting activities just ahead. However, I'd just like you to know that this time slot is generally facilitated by the JBDC's Technical Services Department, responsible for assisting clients with their product development needs from concept to market. However, today we are recognizing and are officially a part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week celebrations. And just in case you're wondering what exactly is Global Entrepreneurship Week, well, it is actually recognized as one of the world's largest celebration for innovators and job creators and persons who are basically driving economic growth and ideas throughout the world. So we are celebrating that today. And it is falling under the theme Ideate, Innovate, and Activate. And in keeping with that theme today, we will actually be looking at the idea of simple bead making. And of course, we will also be looking at or exploring how the techniques and methodologies of simple bead making can actually lead to the creation of very innovative products. And ultimately, through the activation process, you will be able to see some absolutely remarkable products. And our presenter today is no stranger, and he is very special to us here at the JBDC. He is Mr. Alao Luqman Omotayo, and he is a Nigerian artist and volunteer cultural diplomat to Jamaica. He holds a bachelor degree in painting from the University of Lagos and a Master of Fine Arts printmaking from the University of Benin. He is currently pursuing his PhD from the same university, and he was awarded Student with Leadership Qualities in 2008 at the University of Lagos Endowment Scholarship Awards and Banquet, and 2 times first Best Faculty Arts Researcher at the University of Lagos Annual Research Conference and Fair 2016 and 2017, respectively. He has acted as curator for the University of Benin's second eminent lecture series, Culture at Risk. And in honor of the Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka 2016. He has done numerous commissioned works and participated in several solo and group exhibitions. He is a member of the Society of Nigerian Artists and a member of the Arts Council of African Studies Association. He has worked with the Tourism Product Development Company and the Ministry of Tourism Jamaica 2017 and 2018 respectively. He has also worked with the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports 2019, and currently he is engaged with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation under the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. To add to his credit, he is a multi-talented artist who has facilitated numerous workshops ranging from tie-dye batik, jewelry bead making, leather, chasing and repose, and much more. And just to let you know, right before I hand over to Alao, we will be facilitating questions at the end of his presentation. So you can go ahead and type your question in the chat at that time, and we will definitely respond to them. So Alao, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dania. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here today. And also, thank you for the acknowledgement. And once again, my name is Alao Luqman Omotayo. And today's webinar workshop will be looking at simple bead making. Simple bead making is just a technique in which most of the beads that were hung over there and they were made. And there are so many processes in making the bead. But the technique that we'll be looking at is just a basic technique in which it allows any participant or anybody who wants to start bead making. Once you know that basic, automatically it will lead you to so many innovation in the bead making. And here with me here, I have different kind of sizes of bead. We call it the sun bead. We have the sun bead, and we have the blue, and then I have a crystal bead in front of me here, and also I have jump print, and I have an earring hook, and some other things again that we use for bead making. And also here, I have some of the instruments we use for bead making. We have the plier and a cutting plier, a nose plier, round nose plier, and flat cutting plier. And also we have scissors here. And I have the fishing line. Fishing line is one of the material we use for bead making. And in front of me here, the size of the fishing line I'll be using is size 0.25 mm. And also, yeah, without wasting too much of time, let me start the process. Now, we have my beading needle. Beading needle is different from the ordinary needle. In case, because in some workshop, most of the participants always think that the beading needle with the ordinary needle are the same. They are not the same thing. The beading needle is very flexible, and you can easily turn it, and it will manipulate the way you want it. And the basic technique I'll be demonstrating here today. Now, I'll be using the crystal bead with the sand bead. Now, what I will do here, I take one bead, one crystal bead, I put it down, and that I take, I think the color I'll be using is very interesting color. I think it is a Jamaican color, the green and yellow. And I have, part of Jamaican color. And that I put my crystal bead, I make it go down, and I make sure the fishing line is equal. Then I put two. And make sure when you're stringing your bead, always look for the equal beads, because actually normally the sand bead doesn't come in a regular shape. So some are bigger, while some are kind of small. But when you're working with it, always look for the regular bead. Then I have my crystal bead at the middle, and I have the other sand bead at the both sides. And the next stage I'm going to do now is to pick another green bead. Now, what I'll do here now, I'm going to cross the green bead. I cross it like this by putting the two needles, then I draw it down. Beading is a very, very simple technique in which many people don't believe that it's a very simple technique. Most especially when I first came to Jamaica, they always think that, oh man, it's very difficult. It's just a repeat pattern. And then the next thing I'll do again is to pick the yellow bead on both sides. I put the yellow bead on both sides, one on each side, one here, and I put the second one on this side. I draw it down. The same thing, I draw it down. Then I take the crystal bead, which is a green, and the next thing I do here, then I cross it. Basically, what I'll be doing, I'll be repeating the same thing until I get a length for a necklace. Then I do the same thing. Sometimes it can be boring when you're doing it, and people looking at you. I put the same thing, then I pick one bead, then I do the crossing. Do the crossing again. You can see the way it's forming. Then we're having, you can see the way it's forming is giving off each of plus, is giving on a plus sign on each one. And then we have the crystal bead at the middle. Then what I'll do again, then I'll repeat the same things as I said. One here and one here. Then I put it down. Then I take my crystal bead, then I cross it with this one. I pull it down. Make sure when you're pulling it down, make sure it's firm. Then I repeat the same thing here. Then go down. And wow, this is pretty. Then put the next one. Normally, once you learn the basic method, it doesn't take time for you to finish off a beautiful necklace. All what you need to do, just I don't know whether I'm too fast, but then draw it down, the same thing. And the same method. Then I put my 2 yellow bead. Two yellow bead. I take the crystal bead. Then I cross it. Across the 2 bead, and it goes down. It's always advisable when you're working with the fishing line, and most especially when the fishing line is when the fishing line is 0.225 or 0.30, you use your beading needle, so it makes your work very fast. Do the same thing here. You pull it down, pull the needle. See that? You can see the way it's forming. It's coming out nice. Try to pick some of the, and also if you're doing your beading, it is always advisable you use a flat plate, so that it's easy for you to just use a needle and pick the bead instead of using your hand and pick the bead. Once you just put your bead across it like this, then you get it. I see it now. Just like the way I did it. So I don't need to use my hand to pick out the bead. I said the big one. I repeat the same thing. In every technique of bead making, it is a repetition that will make it interesting. You don't need to crack your head too much. Once you know the basic, just keep repeating the same thing till you get the length of what you want. Either that necklace or a bangle. And if you're doing earring, all you need to do, just make it a little small, depending on the bead you're using. See that? Wow. You can see the shape. Continue now. Pick two. Always remember what you need to do is pick one bead on both sides, and take one to cross. The method applies to any kind of bead you want to use or any bead that you choose to use. You can have maybe like have maybe like 12 more, and then we have the beautiful necklace. Then I cross it and draw it down. Do the same thing. Pick one here, one here, and take one green. Take another green, then cross. Wow. Then take one here, one here. Take one to cross. One here, one here. Okay, pick one green. across. Now you can see basically what I'm doing. I'm just repeating the same thing all over, and it's giving me the shape. And also, it's always advisable when you're working, make sure your fishing line is long. It's better for you to have excess than for you to have a shorter one that it won't be enough. Mostly when you're starting the basic. You can see the length now to having. See, I'm almost done with the necklace. Put it down. Put it down. take the green bead, then cross the green bead. You can see now. Now at this stage, sometimes if you want to make it a choker, yeah, you can stop at this stage if you want to make it a choker, and then if you want to make it to come down a little bit more, then which means that you need to add more string to it. Depending on what you want. Now you can see that is very simple. And at this stage, see, this is the length and what I have achieved so far. Then I use a crystal bead, which is the green crystal bead and the sand bead. This is what I use, and this is a very wonderful necklace. And the next stage, what I'm going to do at this stage now, I will knot it. Once I finish, make sure that it's properly knot. Then I put the clasps. I put the hook on it on both sides, and then we have a nice choker with it. So the next stage, what I'm going to do now, then I remove the needle on both sides. Put the needle and put the needle safely so that you won't misplace it. Sometimes once you just drop it, it could be difficult for you to get it back. Then what I do now is then I knot. If you're doing your knotting, make sure you knot it maybe two, 3 times. I think it's okay with the 2, 3 times. And this is it. Then I do the second one. Then I do the third one so that it's firm. See it now. Now the next stage now. Now once you do your knotting and then you do the finishing, and then here you'll be having the, make sure that don't cut it off yet. Put the hook, put the necklace hook before you cut it off. And then at this side, all what you need to do is just cut the fishing line, and then you put it and to tie the other side of the hook. And this is a hook I'll be using. I have so many of them, though they are pretty tiny, but that's what I'll be using. Maybe you can see them on the table. I don't know whether the camera can pick it up. They said it here. They just pick one of it. What I would do, so pick one of it. Then I pass it through the hole here. Bring it out. Then I knot. As I said, when you're doing your knotting, do it 3 times so that it's firm. It shouldn't get loose up. Then I do the same thing. Second one, and this is the third one. And the next thing you do here, just cut it off. Use the scissors and cut it off. You have it. Why for the other side? You do the same thing by getting your fishing line. Get the fishing line, just small pieces, okay? Then you put it across the first bead, the very first bead that you started with. You put it across it. You can see there. You put it across the first bead that you put. This is it. You put it at the first bead. And for the other side now, pass it through the hole. Pass it through the hole and do the knotting. As I said, do the knotting 3 times so that it stay well. So once you do that, then you can cut it off. See that now? This is a beautiful choker. See it here? Now the next thing I'm going to do now is to do I'll do the earring. Now you can choose, if you want to do your earring, let me move this one so that we can see it properly. Wow. That's pretty. Now the next stage I'm going to do now is to do I do the earring. I use the same method to do the earring, but then this time around I wouldn't want to use the crystal bead because I will look at it, maybe it might be too heavy, or maybe I could just use one. I should just use one of it. Okay, what I'll do now is you can string your needle. Now you use a plier to press down the tip of the fishing line and make it flat so that it can go through the needle easily, because the beading needle they are very, very slim, very tiny. They're very tiny in such a way that the little hole there is very, very small, that is not all the fishing line that can pass through there. I think I use a big one. And the fishing line come in different sizes. So what I'll do here now, I pick one, just like the same method I did. Now, the method is basically having one at the middle, 2 at the side, and we have 1 to cross. That is making 4 pieces. So what I'll do now, because I'll be using the only yellow, then I just pick 3 bead. I pick 3 bead, which means that I have 1 at the middle. Then I pick 1 bead. Then I use the other fishing line to cross it. Then it gives you a plus sign. Once you do it and it didn't give you a plus sign, which means that there is a mistake on it. So what you do to always note that. Then the next stage I'm going to do now, I think I need to string the other needle. On the side. Because it's very tiny, sometimes it could be challenging for you to put it through. Then I did that now. So what I do here now, you can see, then I do the same thing now. Then I pick 1 at both sides, just like the same thing I did for the necklace. I put 1 at this side, then I put 1, one at the other side, and I cross the two. No, something is wrong there. One at both sides. Then I take 1. Then I cross it with this. Then repeat the same thing. 1 here. It doesn't matter from which side you pick, but just make sure that that is, if you're doing the crossing, it doesn't matter from which side, but make sure that you cross the 2 needle. You can see the shape now. But if you're doing your necklace, you can count it so that that is, if you want to make it long, you can make it long, but if you want to make it short, but this one I'm going to make it short. So that's what I did here. So what I did, I just add 1 more, then I cross it. I cross that one, just to give me additive. You can see here now. See what I did here. So all the number I did here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 with 1 at the top, which I'm going to use to do the ending. So what I got to do now, then I cut the fishing line. So make sure I cut it gently. Put the bead, put the needle at the side, and have it this way. That's what I did. Then we have the earring hook. I have them here. We have different an earring hook, but this one that we have, I have silver and I have gold here. I have silver and gold, but what I'll be using is the silver. Then pick one earring hook. See that? Now put your fishing line into the hook and knot. As I told you, if you're doing your knotting, do it 3 times. Second and third. Then it's fin. What I do here now, then cut it off. Make sure when you're cutting it off, cut it at least to the close to the knotting so that they won't be seeing the fishing line dangling. You can see now I have my first earring for the necklace. Then I'm going to do the second one now quickly. Okay. Wow. Then I get my fishing line. Then the fishing line back. Sometimes if it's a very small one, you can do without the needle. But let me try it without the needle. Then I put 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 here. Then I'm doing the fourth one. I'm going to cross the fourth one. See that? And hold your fishing line to be equal. Then I have the sign. You can see the sign, a plus sign. So when I do it again, I repeat the same thing. One this side. And one at the other side. And take 1 to cross. Here's 1 to cross. I'll repeat the same thing. 1 this side. Let's pick the regular bead so that you make your work even. I put the second one and cross with the second one. Now let's count it as a complete 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, complete. Then I put 1. I cross with 1. And pull it down. Then the next thing I do is to take my hook, take the herring hook, and put it inside. Make sure the herring hook is properly closed. I can see this one is not properly closed. If you're not close, you can't, can be, your fishing line can be removed. So what I do now is to pass through, then I pull the hook, I pass it through the hook, let it slip down, then you do the knotting. As I said, when you're doing your knotting, don't forget, do it 3 times. 3 times is always advisable. Don't do it twice, so that it's holding firm. And then you cut it off gently. Then we have the second earring. Wow. We have the second earring. So we have a complete necklace. We have the necklace and we have the earring. And this method is a basic method for most of the necklaces that you've seen on the board, as I said earlier on. And with this method, if you want to add up some other, or if you want to embellish the necklace, so all what you need to do is to just string up some other bead here, dangling, like one of the one on the board over there. That's a kind of light, yeah, light blue or sky blue over there. Then all what you need to do is just to string off the just to string up some bead underneath. This is where we're going to stop now. I'm going to have a break now for us to see and what we've done so far. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Alao. I am seeing where we got a couple questions in the chat. Okay, Lisa Calendar was actually saying, very simple and effective. Have you ever measured how many beads are required for the length of a necklace?
Yeah, basically, measuring that it's when you're doing your work and you'll be able to check how many or what is the length that you want, because in terms of necklaces we have depending what you want to do, like for this one I did, it is a choker, and then if you're doing the one that's not a choker, and then you could, when you string the bead, because the bead come in different sizes, by the time you string the bead, then you'll be able to know whether this is okay for this length. And then we have some that come in about 12 inches, depending on what you want, as I said.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. All right, she's also asking, where did you buy the actual beads and so forth that you're utilizing today?
You could get some of those beads at downtown and also at Legany Drugs and Garden.
Okay,
The
all
same
right.
thing. The same thing with the fishing line. They have most of those materials over there at Legany Drugs and Garden.
Okay, so Ligani Drugs and Garden, that's in Ligani for everybody who wants to know, as
Yes.
the name suggests.
Hmm.
Okay, so Carrie Ann Johnson, she commented and she said, nice. And Lisa Calendar also said, thanks. Looking forward to experimenting. So thank you very much for the information that you provided and also for the techniques that you have shown so far. Will you be showing other techniques, Alo, or will they see it?
Yeah, and how many minutes we have more? Do we have more time? Yeah, I can show up another technique, a simple technique, and let me quickly do that. Okay, let me show another technique. Okay, have your fishing line. Now another technique I'll be showing now. Yeah, make sure your fishing line is long enough. Then as I said, you need your nose plier to flatten the tip. Flatten the tip of your fishing line. Make sure it's flat so that it allows you to put it through the needle. Cut the tip. Now you don't need to put it all the way through. So because once it's firm on it, then I take the other side. Then I repeat the same thing. Got the tip. Then pick it up and put it through the needle. Once you flatten it, it allows you to pass through the needle easily. Now this time I'll be using I have another crystal bead, but it's kind of transparent like glass. You cannot see it, but I think by the time I started using it, you're going to see. Then let me change the bead now. And let me put this on the side. Then I use the green this time around. So what I'll do here, I pick one crystal bead, put it in, and then at both sides, I'll pick 3 beads at both sides. 1, 2, 3. 3 this side. I pick 3 the other side. 1, 2, 3. Then make sure that your fishing line, you put it equal. And this is what we have. We have this. And what I'll do now is to pick another crystal bead and cross. As I said earlier on, bead making is a very simple technique because once you know the basic, all what you need to do is to repeat. And this is what I get here. You can see this is what I get. It's quite different from from the first one. Then what I'll do, I repeat the same thing by picking 3 beads on both sides. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Then I put the crystal bead. Then you cross and drag to the lasting end. Then I have this. You can choose any color you want, and also you can mix your color depending what you want. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then I put the crystal bead. Do the same thing and drag it down. Make sure when you drag it, it's firm. Do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then I put the crystal bead. Then cross. You can see the shape we're having here. Then do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. It's very easy to pick when you're using your when you're using your needle. All what you need to do, just use the needle to just pick it up. But if you're not using your needle, it takes much time and much stress. Make sure when you're working, check your work properly and make sure everything is accurate. For the same thing, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2, and 3. Then take your crystal bead. Then drag it down. Oops. 1, 2, and 3.
Hello?
Yeah.
While you are doing your technique, I am seeing where we have some questions coming in, and I didn't want them to pass. I didn't want you to go ahead with the technique before you probably address them. I'm
Okay.
seeing where Cheryl Gilzine is asking, what size fishing line did you use? What kind of jewelry do you use copper wire to make? So
Yeah,
it's actually both. It's two questions for you right there.
and what kind of and the size of the fishing line I'm using here is 0.25, and then what I'm doing is bead making using sand bead and also with the crystal beads. I don't know whether I answered a question.
Okay, the other question was, what kind of jewelry can you use copper wire to make?
Copper wire. The last webinar or that we had, we show the techniques which you can use copper wire to do. That was where we demonstrated the wire gizmo. I think on the board here I have some samples, some little samples where you can use your copper wires with the bead, which is over there, and that I think basically on the next workshop, that's where we're going to demonstrate the use of the um, copper wire and bead.
That's right. We actually have a webinar in a couple of weeks that we will be looking at wire wrapping pendants. So I'm certain that we will be utilizing copper wire during that time. So who was it? Cheryl Gilzine, you'll be able to see a little bit of what the copper wire can do in those upcoming webinars that we will be having. Okay, Lisa Calendar Alao is saying, is it possible to demonstrate how the rope is done? I am presuming that she's speaking about the technique itself, or
How the rope is done?
right.
I mean how the bead,
She was saying like with the pink necklace on the table.
the pink
It's
necklace on the
actually
table.
red. It's actually red for,
Oh, on the table.
yeah.
Uh, those are and it is the same basic technique which I was demonstrating here. That one need more a little bit advanced if you want to learn that one. And I presume maybe and if she will come to JBDC, then we'll be able to um, do that one for her. But most of the technique that I'm showing you, they are basic technique to most of these beads that you are seeing on the table and also on the board.
Okay, and once you're finished with your technique, I'd definitely love if you could just highlight some of the products that you actually have hanging on the board once you're finished, Allo. However, Camille Savage is saying, can you use beading wire for this technique or only fishing wire?
For this technique, yes, you can use wire for this technique, but the you won't get the flexibility of what you want, except you just want it to be stiff. But even though if you have to use a wire, you have gauges of wire you can use. You can't use the thicker gauge, which is gauge 15 or 20, 24. Some of the gauges that you can use to do this kind of technique, and which is gauge 32, 32, 33, or 35. They are more like a fishing line. They are very, very and slim, like a fishing line, maybe like size of 0.25 to 30.
Okay, so those are the questions that we have. Okay, she was saying, hello, she's speaking about the soft flex bending wire, not the stiff ones. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the wire that she's speaking about.
Yes, that is gauge 32, 32 or 32 upward.
Okay, so can that be utilized instead of the fishing wire? That's fine.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use it.
Okay. All right. She said, okay, great. Thanks. So those are the questions for now. So I'll just allow you to complete the process.
Okay. Now you can see the length now. See how maybe like 12 more to go. Then we have the same length for a necklace. One, two, three. One, two, three. Then I cross the two. Then I repeat the same thing. So picking one, two, three.
Just to pick your brain a little bit more while you are doing your technique, Cheryl Gilzine is saying she was trying with the wire, but it's not flexible.
Yeah, once you are not using the flexible wire, it will give you some challenges because you won't be able to pull it down.
Is it that you're making now? Is it a necklace?
Yeah, yes, I'm doing a necklace, but then I could just make it a bangle.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I make it a bangle, which is a
Like a bracelet.
yes bracelet.
And the technique that you're utilizing now is called what exactly?
Is a round bead technique.
A round bead technique.
Yes, why the first one is cross
Okay.
beading technique.
So in this technique, you actually have that clear, the clear bead in the middle, and then the green beads are actually surrounding that. So
Yes,
about how many of the green beads are you actually utilizing to form that?
yes.
Um,
Counting three on both side, and I use a crystal bead to cross.
okay. It's actually looking fantastic from where I am right now.
So man, I wouldn't use my hand because my hand is quite big. So one, two, three. One, two, three. And then I pick three on both sides. And I use the crystal bead to cross. Then I repeat the same thing. I repeat the same thing now. One, two, three. One, two, three. Then I use the crystal bead to cross, which is going to be the last one. And I have this now. Now you can see so far what we've gotten so far. And this shoe, yeah, this is very good for bracelets. You can see that. So what I will do now, I'm going to cut the fishing line off. Then I repeat the same thing by putting a hook. Then what I do here now, cut the fishing line, cut it gently, and make sure that you don't lose any of the fishing line at both sides so that you won't lose your bead that you've made so far. Then I put it, then what I do here now, I do the knotting first. Do the knotting first. As I said, always knot it 3 times. And so far, you see what we have here. Then what I will do now, then I put the hook on it. Put your fishing line across the hook and also knot 3 times. 2 and the third one. And cut it up gently. And do the same thing at the other side. Take any of the fishing line here. Pass the fishing line to the very first one. Knot. And take the other side of the hook. Then pass one of the fishing line into the hole and do your knotting. Knot it 3 times. And the third. Then you have your now you can see your bracelets. Wow, it's pretty.
It is simply stunning, Alao.
So the same method, if you want to do your necklace, that's the same method you use. So all what you need to do is to string it to the length of your necklace. And also the same thing you do for this one. If you want to do your bracelet, so you do the same thing with that one too. Just string it to the length of the bracelet of what you want. And then repeat the same thing. And if you want to do your earring, you can use the same methods to do your earring, which is as simple as that. Thank you very much. And then we have bracelets. We'll make a bracelet. We'll make the earring and the necklace of different method. We did 2 methods today.
All right, thank you very much, Alao. If you have any additional questions for Alao, please go ahead and type them in the chat right now. In the interim, Alao, I'm just going to ask you to head on over to our display and just highlight some of the pieces that you have on the board right now so that the viewers can actually understand what is up there.
Okay, now we have here, as I said, most of the method that we've been teaching here, they are basically the basic technique of bead making. And if you watch this one, it's the same technique that you have here. The same technique you have here is the same thing. So that's why I said the basic method, if you want to enhance the beauty of the of your necklace, then you can add up all this one that you're seeing at the down. And this method, we call it forest. Now you can see it look like tree and branches of tree. That's why we call it forest. And that is it for this one. That very simple method. Once you know the basic, all what you need to do is just to start adding up or enhancing the beauty of your necklace. And also, the same method you see over here is the same method we use here. Let me bring it out gently. The same method that we use here, the basic method that I show you with this one is the same thing that we have here. One first, two are both side, and use one to cross. That is the same thing. Once you do that, now you can see that once you know the basic, and then all what you need to do is started adding up some other element to your bead. So the same thing I have here, and also the same thing I have here. The same thing I have here. Why for this one, oh okay, this one can be removed. For this one, the same method I have here, which is the basic method, which is this green one. The same basic method. Once you know the basic method, all what you need to do is started adding up and also getting other and elements on your bead. Why the second one is this method, which in Nigeria we call this one Abuja connection. It's one of the very, very pretty ones. That is the second technique that I just made here. The second technique I made here, this is the basic for this one. That is it. Why this one, then this method is quite different from what we had. Assuming there is more time, I could have demonstrated the technique for this one. Why? And the other ones here, we have is just stringing of the bead. So you string it to a particular length you want, as long as you want, and then you folded it together. That's what we did here. The same thing with the one at the down here. You can see it. So the same thing with the one I have here. So all what you need to do is to string as much as possible, and then to the next thing and fold it into layers of what you want. And also here, yeah, that's it. And here, for the next webinar workshop, that we'll be doing the feel of African touch using fabric. And then most of the fabric and most of the material we'll be using here, they are recycled material. So basically, it's not something that you have to be looking to or going to market to buy, depending. But most of them are recycled material. And also here, we have and how to use it. And for the lady that asked the question that how can she use wires as a pendant? So these are the method of which you can use your wire. And most of the wire I use here, they are gauge 32, 33, and 35, which are very, very flexible, just like the fishing line that I use here, which is a 0.25. And also that one too, that will be the third workshop. That will be the third webinar workshop that we'll be having. Why the other one here? The leather one will be the last one, and I hope and which most of you will be available to see how you can make some necklaces, jewelry with your um, with with your leather. And I have another one too here. So let me put this one here so that you can see the tree. That will be the last one coming up on December 8th.
All right, well, I believe that's it. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Our theme today was ideate, innovate, activate, and I'm hoping that you have actually seen how utilizing some of these techniques can really create some innovative products, because the products that you would have seen earlier, they are absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure that persons would pay top dollar for those products. So, form an idea and get creative and get into the process to actually activate and get your business and products on board. So we actually have additional activities that will be coming up for Global Entrepreneurship Week. Tomorrow, let me just take a look at that. Tomorrow, we should be looking at Partnerships for Growth and JBDC in concert. And there are numerous other activities that will carry us through to the end of the week. JBDC Virtual Gift and Crafts Zone, as well as Brand Jamaica Design Lab. And of course, on Friday, there will be the Entrepreneur's Journey and JBDC Boss of the Year 2020 Awards. And please don't forget that you can tune in to us next week again for our JBDC Virtual Biz Zone. As Alao pointed out, we will be looking at some other fantastic products and techniques that you can utilize to develop a product and potentially a business. Next week, as you pointed out, we will be looking at a feel of Africa, an introduction to fabric jewelry. So please don't hesitate to check that out. And please don't forget to check out our YouTube page, JBDC Jamaica, where you can view all of these webinars and additional content that we would have produced just for you. And don't forget to check us out on social media as well, or send us an email at info@jbdc.net or any of our Instagram or Twitter pages to get additional information on our Global Entrepreneurship Week activities, or even our JBDC Virtual Biz Zone, or any other question that you may have to ask the JBDC about your potential product or business. So once again, Alao, really want to thank you very much for being here today and showing us some fantastic techniques that we can utilize, and under the theme ideate, innovate, and activate. And so thank you very much for taking time out to our viewers to be here today, and we look forward rather to have you with us for the rest of the week, and also for the additional activities or webinars that we will be having in the weeks to come. So until next week, please take care and be safe.